If you can read what this whiteboard says, then you know exactly what this video is going to be about. I'm going to show you the most effective low-cost ad strategy for KDP. Now, it's not lottery campaigns. It's not 10-cent biz with 900% TOS. It's none of that. It's actually a lot simpler than that and a lot easier to implement. Now, I'm going to show you exactly how to launch these campaigns from start to finish. I'm not going to leave anything out. I'm going to show you absolutely everything. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to launch these campaigns. I want to show you how to find the keywords. I'm going to show you the campaign structures, the match types, the bidding strategies. I'm going to show you the budget. I'm going to show you the bids that you're supposed to put. I'm going to show you everything. By the end of this video, you will know exactly every single step you have to take to launch these campaigns. Now, why even listen to me? I'm just a random guy with a robe talking about KDP. Well, I've tested this campaign with me, with my clients, and a bunch of people in the community have been testing out these campaigns, and they've been working amazingly well. And because I know they work, I want to share them with you. So anyway, enough hyping it up. Let's actually talk about what you're supposed to do. So step one, you want to figure out which keywords are you actually going to target. Obviously, if you understand how Amazon ads work, you understand that you need to put keywords. So how do you figure out these keywords? Well, it's very, very simple. Step one, keywords. You have to ask yourself one simple question. Well, actually two questions. What and who? What do I mean by this? First of all, what is your book about? What is your book? Now, I'm going to give you two examples so I can make it super crystal clear. So what is your book? Let's say chair yoga. If you're selling a chair yoga book, that's what your book is. Your book is about chair yoga. Now, it's not enough just to put chair yoga. You need to figure out who is your book for. Is it chair yoga for dogs? Obviously not. Let's say it's chair yoga for seniors. So now you know it's chair yoga and you know who it's for. You know what your book is and who it's for. Chair yoga for seniors. So now you know exactly what keywords you want to target, because you want, this is the most important part, you want hyper-targeted keywords. Hyper-targeted, not relevant, not broad keywords. You want hyper-targeted. If I'm selling a chair yoga for seniors book and I target the keyword chair yoga for seniors, guess what? It's exactly what my book is. It's going to have a higher chance of that converting. So you want to pick hyper-targeted keywords. Okay, so apart from chair yoga, I'm going to put a cover that pops up now. You can see the cover. Look at what the book is. This is a raised bed gardening book. So guess what keywords we're going to put? What is our book? It's obviously a raised, can't even spell here, raised bed gardening book. But the most important part, who is it for? Well, is it for experienced people or is it for beginners? I'm going to guess that it's for beginners. So now that we know what our book is and who it's for, we know which keywords we're meant to be targeting. We know which keywords to find. So great. Now that we know which keywords to find, well, how do we actually find those keywords? I want to show you exactly how to do that now. First thing you want to do is not buy a software. You don't need any softwares to run these ad strategies. Don't go buy Helium 10. Don't go buy Publisher Rocket. You don't need any of them. It's completely free. Because here's what you want to do. You're going to go on Amazon. This is Amazon. And there's going to be a search bar right here. You know it's a search bar because of this magnifying glass. And you're going to type in here your main keyword. Let's say it's chair yoga for seniors. I'm going to type in chair yoga for seniors right here. And guess what's going to happen? Before I press enter, do not press enter. Before you press enter, Amazon's going to give you a bunch of other search terms, a bunch of other words related to what you typed in. Now, guess why these search terms are here? Guess why Amazon shows you these search terms? Because these search terms have traffic. If these search terms have traffic, that means people are searching for this. People are buying books because they clicked on this keyword. They clicked on this keyword, books popped up, they clicked on the book and they bought it. So guess what keywords you want to be targeting? You want to be targeting keywords with traffic. The more traffic you have, the more clicks you get. The more clicks you get, the more sales you can get. If you target a keyword with zero traffic, no one is looking at your book. So you need keywords with traffic. So now we know which keywords have traffic and we know which keywords we want to target, we want to find. So I'm going to type in chair yoga for seniors and a bunch of autocomplete searches are going to pop up. Now from these searches, I want to pick the most hyper relevant ones. So in this example, we have chair yoga for seniors. Then we also have chair yoga for seniors over 60. And we also have chair yoga for seniors over 70. Obviously, if our book is appropriate for over 70, we're going to target over 70. And we also have chair yoga for seniors book. A bunch of DVD options come up as well, but we don't want the DVDs because we're not selling DVDs. We're selling books. So we found 4 keywords just from the autocomplete. We know that these have traffic because they popped up, and we know that they're relevant to our book because we know what our book is and who it's for. Now, we found 4 keywords. Do we need any more than 4 keywords? Absolutely not. This is a low budget strategy. You're not trying to target hundreds of keywords. If you have a massive budget, go and target hundreds of keywords. That's okay. But with this strategy, we want to target very few keywords, but be very, very precise with the keywords that we want to target. That way, we're spending our money the most effective way possible. And it's going to give us the biggest return possible. Now, that's a chair yoga one. So we found our 4 hyper-targeted keywords based on what our book is and who it's for. Let's do the raised bed one as well, because that one might be different. So for raised bed, we have raised bed gardening for beginners book. We have raised bed gardening book. I'm not going to keep writing raised bed. If I do these lines, you know that is raised bed. We have raised bed gardening for beginners without the book. Is that going to make a difference? Well, we have to test it out and see. And then we just have raised bed gardening. So we found 4 keywords for raised bed as well. So if we're doing the chair yoga, these are the keywords we're targeting. If we're doing raised bed, these are the keywords that we're targeting. Now, there's sometimes you have variation keywords. So if you have a how to draw book, you might have how to draw blah, 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 animals or dinosaurs or monsters or whatever you're going to teach someone how to draw. And you might also have learn to draw. So that's a variation keyword. It's the same exact niche, same book, same everything. It's just 2 different ways of saying it. In that case, you want to just find the keywords that are most relevant to you. You can do separate campaigns for how to and separate campaigns for learn to in order to see which one works best. But for now, let's just stick with these 2 that we found. So great. Let's stick with the chair yoga one because it's a lot easier for me to write chair yoga than raised bed gardening. So let's say we figured out our 4 keywords. These are our 4 keywords. Now, what's step 2? Well, before I move on to step 2, there's a side note that I have to add. First of all, before you run this ad strategy, your book has to be high quality. Because if you're selling something that's really, really bad, no matter how many ads, how much traffic you bring onto your book, you're not going to make more sales. In fact, you're going to lose more money. If you have something good that people want to buy and you bring more people onto it, then more people would buy. If you have something bad that no one wants to buy, if you bring more people, you're just bringing more people that don't want to buy. I hope that makes sense. That's the absolute basic things you need to understand about this business. You need a high quality book. You need a good book first. If you have a high quality book, you have a good product. Now, it's not just enough to have a good product. I see that reviews play a big role as well. You need a high amount of reviews. Now, high reviews, this purely depends on your niche. Because there's niches where everyone has 50 reviews, so if you have 40, you can still compete. There's niches where everyone has 2,000 reviews, so if you have 50, you can't compete. Now, I know a bunch of you are going to say, oh, but there's this one book that has 10 reviews and it's on 2,000 maybe. Yeah, I know. There's loads of books like that. There's so many different reasons for that. But if you have a higher amount of reviews, then you have more chance of success. You have a higher conversion rate, your book sells more. Getting more reviews is never going to hurt your book. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say you will fail if you don't have 100 reviews. I'm just saying, if you have 10 reviews and then next month you have 100, you will make more sales when you have 100. If you don't change anything else and you just get more reviews, you will get more sales. And why is that? Because high reviews give you social proof. And if you have social proof, guess what you have? Trust. No one buys from anyone they don't trust. The only reason you're watching me right now and you're listening to me is because you trust that what I'm saying is true. You don't watch anyone on YouTube you don't trust. You don't buy products you don't trust. You don't do anything without trusting. You don't get married unless you trust the girl. Everything is based on trust, especially when people are trying to buy your book. If they don't trust your book, that it's going to give them the results. And how do they know if it's going to give them the results? Based on the reviews. If the reviews say this book is amazing, then people trust that your book is going to give them the same results and they're going to buy your book because of trust. So reviews equals trust. The more reviews, the more social proof, which means the more trust. I give you a book with 10 reviews and I give you a competitor with 10,000 reviews. You trust 10,000 more. It's very, very simple. Now there's a trust scale as well. So you're going to have 1 to 10 reviews. That's basically fairly low trust. It's not the most amazing thing. But then you can have 10 to 30 reviews, a little bit more trust. This is like level 1. Level 2 is 30 reviews. Once you pass 30 reviews, or around 30 to 60 reviews, at the 50 mark, you get a little bit more trust. Now, the point where your trust really skyrockets is when you reach 100 reviews. If you reach 100 reviews, your book is very trustworthy. Because for 100 people to leave a review, that means way more than 100 people bought it. And 100 people had a positive experience with your book, positive enough to leave a review, which means they trust your book. And then obviously you have thousands of reviews, which is basically almost impossible for you to fail. You have to really mess up. If you have 1,000 reviews and your book is not selling, you have to really mess up. Now, final side note, you have a high quality book, you have a high amount of reviews, you have a good book listing basically. But you also need to have a good niche. I have to say this because a bunch of people in the comments are going to be like, yeah, but it's not just the ad strategy. You have to have everything else. I understand. You have to have a good niche. If you don't know how to do niche research, I'll show you everything in the community if you're part of the community. If not, then you just have to figure it out by yourself on YouTube. You also have to have a good book cover, because if you don't have a good book cover, people are not clicking on your book. You can't sell anything to anyone unless they click on your book first. You need very high converting A+ content, because this is going to help you make a bunch of more sales. If you make more sales, your conversion rate is higher. And if your conversion rate is higher, your ranking gets higher. And if your ranking is high, you just make more sales anyway. It's just a big snowball effect of sales. Now, this is the conversion part. You also need good SEO, so Amazon knows what keywords to show you for. And a good description never hurts anyone. So if you have these things in place and it's all correct, if you're part of the Profitable Publisher 2.0 program, you know exactly how to do every single step correctly. If not, then you'll probably watch some YouTube videos. You might have joined another program, I don't know. But as long as you have these factors in place and they're correct and it's very effective, then you have a good enough book to start advertising. Now that the side note is over, let's actually get into the strategy. So you pick the correct keywords. By the way, you have a good book. I just explained what a good book is. Now, what's the third step? The third step is picking your match type. Can't even spell type. What's your match type? Well, you can have 3 match types. You can have broad, you can have phrase, and you can have exact. Now, here's the most common question I get, and you're probably asking this right now. Which one of these do you pick? Do you run those keywords in broad, in phrase, or in exact? Well, here's the most important thing. Don't be a psychic. What does that mean? Why would you try and guess which one's going to work most effectively? Test all 3 of these. If you're running ads for a book, you need to test in order to gather data. Remember, data. If you're running ads, data is the most important thing. If you run ads, test broad phrase, test phrase match, and test exact match. And then once you start running these 3 campaigns, you're going to gather data. And guess what the data is going to tell you? It's going to tell you broad phrase works really good. Phrase match doesn't work good. Exact match doesn't work good. Great, let me eliminate this and stick with broad. And guess what? Now your ads are very, very good. Or for someone else, broad might work good. Phrase might work better than broad, and an exact match might be terrible. Guess what they're going to do? Because they gathered the data, they know the next step to take. Eliminate exact match, stick with these 2. For some of you guys, phrase match will work good, exact will work good, and broad won't work at all. It's all about testing. I'm not a psychic. I can't predict your book's success. You need the data in order for you to figure out what to do. So how do I test these 3? It's very simple. It all depends on your campaign structure. So you're going to launch one campaign. This is your campaign. Inside this campaign, you have your ad group. This is your ad group. And inside your ad group, you have 2 things. First of all is your product. This is your book. Only one format of your book. So this can either be your ebook or your paperback. Inside this ad group, not only are you going to have your product, you're going to have the 4 or 5 or 6 keywords that you found. In fact, the less, the better. You want to stay super, super targeted. So you're going to have your targets. Your targets are your keywords. So you're going to have 4 keywords. And in these targets, all these 4 keywords are going to be in exact match. Now, exact match is over. What are you going to do next? You're going to do the exact same thing. But this time, you're going to target everything in phrase match. Here you have your targets and then phrase match. And then once that's done, guess what you're going to do now? Exact same thing. Different campaign, different ad group, your product. Then you're going to have your targets, and then your targets are going to be in broad match. So now you have 3 separate campaigns with 3 separate match types, all 3 of them the same keywords. So that way, when you're spending money, your money is getting allocated correctly to all the targets, and then you can clearly see exact match works better, or phrase match works better, or broad match works better. Now you're separating the campaigns because then the money flows much better that way. So that's perfect. Now we know the campaign structure. What's the next step? The next step is your bidding strategy. Now, this is where a lot of people get it mixed up. There's a lot of YouTubers and a lot of like these KDP gurus or whatever. I don't know if I count as a guru. I guess I do. But anyway, there's a bunch of people teaching whatever used to work a long time ago. I tested other strategies and I find that those strategies are a lot more effective. But your bidding strategy, which bidding strategy are you going to use? Well, you have 3 options. You have up and down. I'm going to show you what these mean. Let me just draw everything and then I'll show you what everything means. You have down only, and then you have fixed bids. So what's up and down? Up and down basically means if Amazon thinks, this is Amazon by the way, search bar right here, and then a bunch of books are going to pop up here. Same thing here, search bar, a bunch of books are going to pop up, and same thing here. So up and down basically says, Amazon, here's my book, here's my bid, let's say it's $1, and Amazon can basically increase your bid by 100%, so make your $1 $2, if Amazon thinks that your book has a higher chance of it making a sale. So that means Amazon could show you here, but if Amazon thinks your book has a higher chance, it could show you here for a higher price. And if Amazon thinks your book has a lower chance of making a sale, it can show you down here. What about down only? Same thing, except it's only down, there's no up. So Amazon can show you here if you're bidding $1, but if it thinks that your book is not really going to convert for what someone searched up here, it's going to show you down here for a cheaper click. So here it might be $1 and here it might be 60 cents. But here's the thing, the lower you rank or the lower you show in the search results, the less chance someone will click on your book. That means you get less clicks. Obviously, if you're number one, you're going to get way more clicks than if you're the last one in the search results. Now, yes, you're going to get a cheaper click, but you don't really want the cheapest clicks. You want the highest quality clicks. So what does fixed bids do? Fixed bids basically says, Amazon, this is exactly how much I'm willing to bet. You show me where this price that I'm giving you is appropriate for. So if this guy's bidding 160 and then my fixed bid is 150, I'm probably going to keep showing up under him here. If my bid is always on fixed bids, if my bid is always $2 and I'm always the highest person, then for those 4 keywords that we picked, I'm always going to be showing up number one. So which one of these strategies sounds the best to you? A lot of people are going to say down only because it's the cheapest one, lowest cost, but that's not actually the one that you want to go for. The one that I go for is fixed bids because I have more control. This one, how does Amazon know if you're going to convert well for the keyword or not? It needs data. If it's a brand new book, you don't have any data. If it's a book that already has data, then great. This might work well for you. But if you're using these, you're basically giving Amazon all the power. If you're using fixed bids, you can be more accurate and you have the power, not Amazon. And you can make sure you're always the highest one. Because with fixed bids, I want to make sure I'm always on number one. Now you can use some TOS strategies as well and placement modifiers, but I talk about that in the community. A bunch of people are finding success with it, but that's a little bit too advanced for YouTube. So I'm only going to be talking about that in the community. But your bidding strategies, I like to use fixed bids. So we're going to have one campaign exact match fixed bids, one campaign phrase match fixed bids, and then one campaign broad match fixed bids. Now, what about your bids? How much do you want your bids to be? Well, guess what? I want to be the highest bidder. Now, I know what you're asking. You're asking, well, Barry, this is a low-cost ad strategy. How am I going to be the highest bidder? Because if you're the highest bidder, that means you're getting the most amount of clicks. You're showing up for the keywords that you want. You only have 4 keywords. You're showing up number one for all 4 of your main keywords, hyper-targeted keywords. Those keywords are the ones that you're most likely to convert for because they're exactly what your book is about. So if your book is on the top of the page for the exact keyword that you're supposed to convert for and you're not getting sales, it means your book is really bad. But if you have a good book, then you being at the top and you being 100% relevant to the keyword that you're targeting is going to get you so many sales. It doesn't matter if you're bidding 150 or 160 or even $2. You can still become profitable because your sales are hyper targeted. Imagine every time you spend 150, every 2 clicks you get a sale because you're that targeted. That means you have to spend $3 to make a sale. Well, if you're making anything more than $3, you're profitable. I know what you're saying. Oh, it's impossible to get those clicks. It's impossible if you're broad, not impossible when you're super targeted. So personally, I like to bid anything from $1 to $150. If I see that it's working well, I keep increasing it. 180, 190, I just keep increasing it the more it works. But if you're scared, you can start at $1, but I would recommend 150 because that's usually enough to get you on the top of search. Now again, if you're using modifiers, you can play around with them and help you out and you probably get a lower ACOS with modifiers, but that's way too advanced. I'm gonna show you in another video. Now bidding high might sound impossible to you, but I have 2 examples to show you. First of all is my example. If you look at my ads right now, I'll put a screenshot up. I can't remember exactly what it was, so I wrote it down here. So my results, I had a 181 cost per click. I showed you 150. I bid way high. I have a 181 cost per click. Now, a bunch of people are gonna say, oh, that's way too high. But guess what? I have 42 clicks for this campaign and 15 orders at 42% ACOS. Now, I know what you're saying. Oh, but how much is your book? What's the price of your book? Are you ready? This is the price of my book, $11.97. It's a medium content book. It's not even a high content book. If this was a high content book at $16.99, I would have been making so much more money. But I'm just trying to show you that this works for medium content books as well. Low content books, I have no idea. I don't do low content. I do medium and high content. But I have 42 clicks, 15 orders at 42% ACOS. My click-through rate is 118, over 1% click-through rate. The average on Amazon is 0.5. Now, my book has less than 100 reviews because I know a bunch of you are going to say maybe you have hundreds of reviews. My book has less than 100 reviews. Now, what's the conversion rate for this campaign? The conversion rate for this campaign is 35%. The average conversion rate on Amazon is 10%. But if you're super targeted, you find the correct keywords and you have a good book and you put the correct match type and you use the correct bidding strategy and you bid high enough, then you're basically giving Amazon permission to sell more of your books, which is going to give you a super high conversion rate. Obviously, if you're in the Profitable Publisher program, you know how to get 35% conversion rate because I show you everything from the start to finish. I'm not trying to sell you the program, I'm just saying if you have the program, you know how to achieve these high conversion rates. If you don't, then you basically have to figure it out by yourself, which is fine if that's the road you want to go down. But I'm just showing you that this is possible. And it doesn't just work for me. I have a member in the community called Helen. She ran very similar ad strategies, and she had a 29% conversion rate for her medium content book. She had 50 reviews, and I made a whole video in the community talking about her ads, what she did wrong, what she did right. And she was able to achieve a 29% conversion rate with only 50 reviews. Her ABSR was under 10,000. She was making 30 sales a day with a medium content book because the ad strategies that we talk about in the community, it works, not just for me, not just for the clients, but for the members in the community as well. Now, here's one final thing. If you want to test this out with your book, here's what you need to do. Step 1, make sure your book is really good. Don't test this strategy out with a really bad book and then comment down below, this didn't work for me. If it didn't work for you, it's probably your book might not be that good, because everything I talked about here is to ensure the highest quality traffic to your book. So if I'm showing you how to bring the highest quality traffic to a book and your book is not converting, your book is the problem, not the traffic. So step 1, have a really good book. Step 2, find hyper-targeted keywords. If you're selling a how to draw animal book for kids ages 8, you're not targeting how to draw. You're targeting how to draw animals, or how to draw animal book for kids, or how to draw animal book for kids ages 8. Hyper-targeted keywords. Make it almost impossible for you not to convert. Then test out all 3 match types, exact, broad, and phrase. Then make sure you use fixed bids. Make sure you bid high enough, and then let it run for 2 or 3 days. Now, if you're going to test out this strategy, comment down below, yes, I'm testing out this strategy, and then reply to your comment in 3 to 4 days and tell me your results. Tell me how many sales you got from this ad. But anyway, if you found this video helpful, click on this video that just popped up here. It's even more valuable than this one. I know what you're thinking, even more valuable than this one? Yes, the whole channel is valuable. Go click on any video you want. Any video, you're going to get value out of it, I promise. Anyway, I need another coffee and 2 red, but I dropped my marker.